Hi there, my name is Wendy with loveandstampin.com. I'm so excited that you're here with me today. I am going to be showing you some gorgeous new products that are releasing on March 2nd, 2021 from Stampin Up. So these are the Butterfly Brilliance Bundle and some of the fun other products that go with it. We have this gorgeous designer series paper. It comes in a nice big pack like this. Lots and lots and lots of sheets of different paper. And then there is the stamp set, and then there's a whole bunch of dies that come with it. This big one, and then several little butterflies. And you can also get individually or as the big bundle, this really cool like natural paper, and it's kind of got like almost a laminate feel to it. It's kind of slick. So it's really, really cool. Anyway, 2 sheets of that's called Natural Touch Specialty Paper. You can get all these items together in one big bundle for, I think it's around $71 US, or you can individualize and decide what you want. For the month of March, I am actually going to be using this bundle, the stamp set and the dies, for my March club, which is called Love and Stampin' Monthly. There is a link below the video if you're interested in checking that out. So I'm going to use it for that, and everybody will get some of the designer series paper and some other fun stuff as part of the club. My club is $38 to join, and if you subscribe, or you can get it 1 month only for $40. So I'll also make sure to provide the link below for the subscription. If you want to get access to be able to order it for just 1 month, you have to be on my email list, and I'll be sending an email out with the link for that. So anyway, all of that is to say, I have some really cool cards for you today, and I hope that you enjoy hanging out with me for a little bit and checking out these cool cards. All right, let's get started. All right, so here is the Butterfly Brilliance Bundle close up. These are the dies. You can see these butterflies cut out perfectly, so you can have like a frame. You can stamp the beautiful big background die and then cut all the butterflies out at once. Actually, funny enough, I didn't even intend to do this, but I'm not even using the stamp set today. I'm just going to be using the dies and showing you some cool tricks with the dies. So there's designer series paper that comes with the big bundle that you can get also. And today I wanted to show you this cool trick. So I needed 3 layers of basic black paper, which I've cut at 6 by 5 to accommodate the size of this big die. And I've already cut 2 layers of it. So I took the layer that I cut, laid it directly on top of the second piece of black cardstock, and then nestled the die back in place. And then I'm running it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So this happened to cut them all the first swipe through, but if it doesn't cut them through all the way when you're layering 2 pieces of cardstock like this, you can just nestle the die back in place and cut it again. So basically I'm using the first one that I cut as a guide for the second one. Does that make sense? So that every piece that I'm going to glue and stack together are cut exactly the same. So anytime you're making any sort of frame, you have to do this. Now, one of the things I want to mention while I'm gluing these 3 together is you could do this exact same trick to make a huge shaker card. So if you wanted to do this and then add it to foam, a foam adhesive back, or add foam around the inside, you would have an awesome shaker card element. So that's an option as well. I actually considered turning this into a shaker card and putting shaker elements inside each of the butterflies, but then I opted not to do that, and I thought maybe I would do it at a later time. So you can use this exact technique that I'm using here by just stacking up cardstock and then adding acetate in between the last layer of cardstock and then the next one you put on, or you can add foam tape to the back. And those foam adhesive strips Stampin' Up sells are perfect for shaker cards, so you could add those, or you can do what I'm doing here. So recently I've been a little obsessed with layering die cuts because I think it looks so nice. It is time consuming and it does use up more of your cardstock for sure, but it gives you such a really cool finished look. It's almost like you've created chipboard or an embellishment all by just layering cardstock. And I do that throughout this video with different elements. So the sentiments that I use die cuts for, I've layered them in 3 pieces of cardstock, as well as this one here. Okay, now check this out. The designer series paper is made to be able to cut so that you can use the big die cut and cut all those butterflies out at one time. You get several sheets of the same designer series paper in your pack, so you could make lots and lots of cards really quickly. When I saw this, I thought, I don't want to cut all those butterflies out. Instead, I want to cut frames for them and layer the frame on top of the designer series paper. So literally all I did here is cut these pieces of basic black cardstock at 5 by 6, and then I die cut them in layers and glued them together as you just saw, and now we're going to glue it to the card front. And it is gorgeous. And in real life, it's really fun because you can see that depth from the basic black. So it looks as though these butterflies are set into the cardstock, and it's just beautiful. Then I'm just going around the edges and trimming off the excess kind of at an angle. You want to angle your scissors a little bit so that that designer series paper doesn't poke out from behind the black. Okay, so then of course you have to have a card base for this to go on because it's way bigger than a normal card. So I cut a piece of basic white cardstock at 6 1/4 by 5 1/4. Maybe it was 5 1/2 by 6 1/2. It may be that. Yes, 5 1/2 by 6 1/2, I believe is what I cut it at. And then I cut another piece of cardstock at 7 by 5 1/2. So, and then I scored it at 1/2 inch. So this 1/2 inch piece is going to hook onto the back of my 5 1/2 by 6 1/2 piece of cardstock so that we are creating a card, a top folding card. Now obviously this project uses a lot of paper. I will not deny that. It uses a lot of cardstock, but it's a fantastic wow card to give. I was thinking this is a perfect card for a friend who's really maybe not feeling well, or maybe if you had a party of some sort where, I remember when I used to work in a corporate job, we would often have parties for somebody's birthday or retirement or whatever, and multiple people would need to sign the card. So that's kind of what I thought of when I made this card. I thought, multiple people could sign the inside of this card. So this could be something you give to somebody who's just had a baby or a get well or a retirement party or whatever. And you obviously could tailor it and put any sentiment you want to on the front. But I love the end result card size. And then of course you will probably have to come up with some sort of a 5 by 7. 5 by 7 wouldn't even work. Maybe a 6 by 9 envelope so that this would fit in it. There's all kinds of specialty envelopes out there, and I bet anybody could be resourceful and figure out a way to make one to fit this card. So anyway, I love this card. I love how it turned out, and I love the paper in the background. So the next element for this card was to die cut all the letters and then add them. And I did that later off screen, so you'll see it at the end. But this was the main element that I wanted to show you because I feel like the sentiment portion anybody could do. Okay, so for my second card, I'm scoring, this is a regular size 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card, scoring it at 5 1/2 on the 11 inch side and folding it in half to make that top folding A2 size card. Once I do that, I have already pre-embossed this piece of Whisper White cardstock, which is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and I embossed it with the Paint 3D Texture Embossing Folder, which is gorgeous. If you don't have that embossing folder, you should totally get it because it's beautiful. And then I'm using Magenta Madness ribbon to wrap around the edges. And then I'm going to add dimensionals, and we're going to pop this up. Actually, I think I end up using, a foam adhesive sheet. So I ran out of my regular size dimensionals, and the order will be here Monday, thank goodness. But I don't have any. All I have is the teeny tiny ones, adhesive sheets. So I'm making do, and I did find a package of black dimensionals. Honestly, in the 10 years I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I can say this is the first time I've ever run out of dimensionals that I can remember. I'm pretty sure I've never ever run out of them. They are an essential item in my craft room. I need them, and I use them on every single card. So I don't even understand how I ran out of them, but I did. So here I'm just tying that bow and then cutting off the excess. And I'm going to add these butterflies. Now you might be thinking, where did you get these butterflies? We didn't see you make those. So I took the designer series paper and I cut out a bunch of the little metal dies because I had all these black butterflies from cutting the big die cut. So I already had the base for them. And so then I just ran the smaller intricate dies through my machine. And used the designer series paper, and I ended up making these gorgeous butterfly layers. So then I just added a couple of butterflies here, and I ended up adding a sentiment from a totally different stamp set because this bundle doesn't have any sentiments. So, okay, I really debated cutting this part of the video out. And then I was like, no, I'm leaving it in because I want people to see the struggle is real and we all have these issues. So every time I stamped this sentiment, first of all, okay, let's back up. First of all, this sentiment is very skinny. Like the writing, the letters are really fine print. So recently I re-inked this ink pad, this Memento Tuxedo black ink pad that I'm using. I re-inked it recently. I overdid it. So you can see here as I'm stamping, I'm getting really inconsistent stamped images, and that one side is darker, and it's because I'm pushing harder on one side than the other. But I'm also, like, as I'm inking, I'm getting totally inconsistent ink on my stamp. So I cleaned my stamp, I put that Memento Tuxedo Black aside, and I grabbed another one of my Tuxedo Black inks because I have 3 of them, and it stamped perfectly the first time. Of course, I stuck my finger right in it, but then it stamped totally fine after that. So I realized, okay, it's not me, it's not the stamp, it was the ink pad. So just recognize, and now if I didn't have a second Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad, I could have taken paper towels and dabbed up some of the ink that was in it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to set it on the shelf and let that ink kind of settle down, and some of it will dry up a little bit, and then it will be fine to use. It wasn't like so saturated that it's dripping ink, but it was just too saturated for this stamp for sure. So this stamp is from the Vine Design bundle, and I think that that bundle is being overlooked, honestly, in the catalog because the sentiments from the stamp set are phenomenal. So I have it on my list as a priority to make you some cards using the Vine Design bundle because I think it's really cool and I haven't used it yet. So I will. I'll get there. Isn't this beautiful? Oh, I just love this card. I don't know which one's my favorite. So this is the stamp set. Aren't they perfect? There's such good sentiments in it, and I think it just is getting kind of overlooked because it is so simple and it doesn't have a lot going on. So I think people just kind of are like, and really in reality it's beautiful, and it's such a perfect like starter stamp set. Anyway, I digress. I'll quit trying to convince you that you would like it if you don't like it. So I'm using my squares here, my dimensional squares, and I'm adding this 4 by 5¼ piece of Whisper White cardstock to my Whisper White card base, which is 4¼ by 5½. And then I have a piece of the designer series paper, which is cut at 3¾ by 5. And I'm going to layer that on to the card base. And then the thing you did not see me do is I cut 3 of the largest butterfly, and I cut them in basic white. And I just realized this whole video, I think I've probably been saying Whisper White. Y'all get used to it. I don't know what to say. Anyways, basic white. I cut 3 of them, layered them up, and glued them all together. And then I decided I wanted to pop them up on dimensionals and add them to the front of this card. And then I used the well-written dies, which have like little sentiments, and I die cut the words "miss you" from those dies, and again stacked them up 3 times, put them together to complete the card, and put them down below. So you're going to see me do that here in the next few minutes. Okay, so quick story time to wrap up this video. Those of you who might be new here are not used to story time. Story time is just a little bit of snippet of my life and what has been going on. So one of the things that has been going on, and I will try to share in a future video more about, is my husband and I have chosen to give up watching TV for Lent. We are not Catholic, just because some people always ask if we're Catholic whenever I say that we do anything for Lent. And there is this big news flash I want to share with you. You do not have to be Catholic to observe Lent. Lent is something that a lot of religions observe in one way or another, and we are Christian, and so we are observing it by giving up TV. So we have not watched TV since Ash Wednesday, and the first week was rocky, people. I'm just going to tell you. The first week was a little rocky because we were like, we didn't know what to do with ourselves. It was kind of weird because our routine is to sit down in the evening, turn the TV on, and watch a movie or watch a show we really like or something like that. And it's just kind of a way to veg, relax, unwind, not be required to think anymore or talk or do anything. And I think that ultimately it's not a horrible thing, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes it can get in the way of really connecting and having meaningful relationships. Our daughter has chosen not to give up TV. She has a TV in her bedroom, so she does watch TV, but I have noticed that she has decreased the amount that she's watching TV because we're not watching it. So that has been a positive, I feel like. And the first week was a little rough. We had a couple fights, actually, if I'm being totally honest. We had gotten a couple little arguments over some random things. And then I was like, God, this might be, maybe this isn't a good idea, Lord. Maybe we need to go back. And so we've just stayed faithful with it. And now we're doing really good. We're playing games together at night and talking more. And really, it's been really good. So I've really been enjoying it. Try it for 2 days and see how you do. We've got a long ways to go, all the way till Easter. All right. If you want any of these products, they're available March 2nd. Which is also my 40th birthday, and I have a special coming. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.